longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Good morning and welcome to your favorite motorsports radio show, the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I am Jim Beaver here, just like I have been for 369 episodes. Yes, 369 episodes in the book. And I will leave this disclaimer out there. When I was putting the show together and I saw episode number 369, the high school version of me did give a little chuckle. So, all right, you guys listeners, just get that out of the way right now. Get that laugh out of the way. All right, laughter over. Okay, now we'll roll with the show, and we've got one hell of a good one today. We've got, Justin Barcia on the line. Yes, Mr. Bam Bam Barcia is going to be calling into the show. I will actually called in last week. I'll make this disclaimer. We recorded this interview last Friday during Media Day. I've got this nice little arrangement with Supercross where they provide me writer interviews. So this was before his accident. I didn't know if I was going to be able to air it or not, but the good news is bruised tailbone is all Justin Barcia has. So we are free to air this one. I think you guys are going to enjoy it, talking about his roller coaster of a career in 2019, because he is still in that points hunt. Also have my good friend, and I can't believe it's almost been a year since I've talked to him, actually in person, via text, anything. Paul Thacker, you know him, snowmobile legend, X Games medalist. He is back in action on a snow bike this weekend at X Games in Colorado, and Mr. Thacker's taking the time to call into the show today. Also got Tiffany Stone. She's going to be calling in. We get some breaking news from Levi LaVallee. Also going to be talking Dakar, Supercross, maybe a little Race of Champions. And, man, next week I'm racing a trophy truck, obviously X Games. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of news, all kinds of stuff, some great guests. This is going to be a fun show. This is why I wake up and do radio, is shows like this. So, yes, looking forward to this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hang tight. It's going to be one hell of a good show. I will be asking, or I've got tons of time to answer questions. So if you got any questions, hit me up at JimBeaver15 on Twitter, and we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance, or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, so we are back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Obviously, thanks to them for coming back for yet another year here with us. I don't know, on this little show that's, I guess, 369 episodes in. So if you're just joining us for the first time, thank you. If you, been with us since day number one, man, you're a little bit crazy, but I like you even more. But yeah, so I don't know, we got a lot to talk about today. Had my opener all planned out and all kinds of stuff, and literally just saw on social media, and I got an email on Levi LaVallee. You know, Levi is a really good friend of mine. Obviously, you know who he is from X Games and Snowcross and whatever. He's literally one of the best guys or riders to ever, I guess, put his leg over a snowmobile, like hands down. I would say Levi LaVallee, Blair Morgan, Tucker Hibbert. I would say Paul Thacker, one of our guests today, is definitely in that mix as well. I'm trying to think. Chris Barant, he's in that equation. Some are racers, some are freestylers, and some are backcountry guys. But he's in that. He's on the short list. I would say definitely top 5 snowmobile riders of all time. And, I've got to know him personally, his wife, his kids, spent some time at his compound there in Minnesota, and just, I love the guy to death, like a brother. And I didn't know this one was coming. Honestly, we know Levi a couple of years ago. He kind of started scaling back his career. He quit racing snowcross. Now he's a team owner. He's got Kyle Pauline, who is just shredding things for him. He's got that factory Polaris thing. He's obviously a Red Bull athlete. So he kind of quit racing, and I think it was not necessarily the time commitment, but what you had to put in to do it, and he just felt like he wasn't doing it at a high level anymore. So he kind of retired from that. He still, competed in freestyle every year at the X Games, and he obviously highly successful at that. He always takes medals. But even like last year, I think, there was a chance where, it was, I think, his final run, and he was in medal contention, but he had to really try and put it on the line for the gold. And I think he kind of laid up and took the medal. He didn't push for the gold. And, he's got a wife. He's got 2 young kids at home. He's made a lot of money. Obviously, we remember him from, he's a Red Bull guy. He did the leap over San Diego. Remember that? Him and Maddo. Robbie Madison did that tandem leap over the bay or the harbor there in San Diego on New Year's. It was like New Year's No Limits. So he's accomplished a ton. I mean, I stood on the ramp in Minnesota at Heydays when he did, I can't remember if it was 200-foot jump he did in Minnesota at Heydays a couple years ago. It just he just does stuff to do it. Obviously, he's done the thing in downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul with a snowmobile. He's jumped at the Super Bowl. We could list Levi's accomplishments. I mean, I've had him on my podcast on this show dozens of times. But he's accomplished so much, and now he's like grooming the younger fans, and he even called me one time. He won. Red Bull had an event there in Minnesota, and it was like a backcountry snowmobile race. He entered that, and he won a Polaris RZR, and it was one of the new turbos when the turbos first came out. And Levi, he calls me and says, "Jimmy, I just won this turbo RZR." I'm like, "Dude, awesome." He's like, "I've always wanted one." He's like, but he's like, I can't keep it. I'm like, well, why, Levi? And he's like, because he lives in the same small town in Minnesota, Longville, that he always did growing up. And he's one of those, he could have moved anywhere in the country, celebrity status, whatever. He decided to stay there. Well, small town. They don't have a lot of money. The town doesn't. And Levi had told them, and this is stuff that he would never say publicly. I'm saying this because I'm his friend, and I think the world of the guy. Called me, and he's like, dude, he's like, I need to sell this unit. I'm like, why? And he's like, well, what can I get for it? I'm like, oh, probably low 20s. And he's like, okay, and he's like, I promised them if I won this race that I would give them the winnings so they could build a skate park for the kids because the community can't afford it. But he's like, this would help them get going towards that skate park. So Levi wants to keep the RZR. He sells it, gives the money to this town so they can, kind of start building a skate park for the kids. So kids in Longville had something to do, more to do or something, and they didn't have travel to go. That was just the kind of guy he is. It's the kind of guy he still is, right? But yeah, it was just interesting. So that breaking news, and I immediately tried to dissect it, and I'm like, I could see this coming. He's still a draw. I mean, he's going to show up at X Games and sign as many autographs as anybody. And he's an X Games legend. He'll always be welcome back. The guy is actually really, really talented on air. I can see him moving into a full-time on-air commentary role for anything snowmobile related because he's funny and he make a great color guy. So Levi, I guess he's I don't know. He hasn't officially said, hey, I'm retired from X Games, but I don't think there's an injury related there. I think he's just literally pulling out of X Games. So it's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? I think he's got his wife, he's got his family, he's got his kids, he's got, the race team. He's still, he's got Levi LaVallee, his new YouTube series. So I think this is just him kind of turning the page in his career. I think we're still going to see him on a sled all the time. He's got this amazing compound. I mean, it's like Pastrana land for snowmobiles. Seriously, that's what it is. He's got the freestyle ramps, the foam pit, like the track. He's got a little motocross track there. Like you can race RZRs there. He's going to have fun. He's still got endorsement deals, things like that. So, it's. I think it's just the next page in Levi LaVallee's book. So. I think that's that's kind of where he's headed, but it'll be interesting. I will reach out to Levi after X Games over, see if we can get him on air for an interview and just to talk. It's been a while, probably been a year since I've had him on. So just we got a lot to catch up on. But anyways, that was some breaking news today. It's you want to read the full statement? It's on his Instagram. Also, press release went out. I'm sure it's making its ways around the news, the news media right now. I just literally got it right before we got on air. So I'm just kind of giving my thoughts on it. But anyways, man, much respect, much love to my brother Levi LaVallee, and what the future holds for him for sure. So. A lot going on. Also, got to mention, got to give a shout out to my good friend Natalie Eva Marie. She's been a guest on my other show, Project Action. Her and her husband actually were planning a RZR trip and Raptor trip. Off-road aficionados, her from WWE, All Red Everything, whatever. Well, her and Jonathan become good friends of mine. We're part of the Podcast One family. Shout out to Podcast One, who they air this show, and also Project Action is with them. But anyways, Natalie, she's on Celebrity Big Brother. I've never watched Celebrity Big Brother. Never watched any Big Brother. I'm not a reality TV guy. I watch Survivor, massive Survivor fan. It's because it's literally the strategy behind it, So I've never really been a reality TV fan of any kind. So this whole throw people into a house and have competition thing, I watched it last night because she's on it. You want to talk about a bananas show? Like, seriously, that show is nuts. I never knew what it was about. I'm watching it. I don't know what it's about. Anyways, if you're a reality TV fan, hit me up on Twitter. If you watched Natalie on Celebrity Big Brother, she did, because she failed so bad at the first challenge. I don't want to say failed. She wasn't picked in the schoolyard pick. She somehow got like a pass through the first elimination round or something, so it worked out in her favor. Was bizarre. Like her, the celebrity Lolo Jones, which legit. bobsledder, hurdler. You got Ryan Lochte, playboy swimmer that got in all kinds of trouble in Brazil for his hard partying and stuff like that. Kato Kalin, of all people. Ricky Williams, you know him from NFL. He's the one that's a big cannabis fan now and does some stuff with him. I don't know. It's seriously crazy. Joey Lawrence. Yeah, Joey Lawrence is on there. So, I don't know. Interesting show. Anyways, I guess I'm just giving a shout-out because my girl Natalie Eva Marie is on there. So, definitely tune in. Let me know what you think because I've never watched anything this crazy. I'm not a reality TV guy, so it's probably tame by normal reality TV standards, but I don't know. Well, we'll see. Anyways, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will have Paul Thacker on the line. I do have to say I had to cut this interview short when we pre-taped it. So I'm going to air it in its entirety. It's about double the length of what we're going to air on Project Action. But got Paul Thacker coming up after the break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? DirtFish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, DirtFish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, DirtFish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, DirtFish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit DirtFish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from DirtFish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DirtFish Rally.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my good friend Paul Thacker to the line, who, you're getting tuned up, ready to go race some X Games here later this week, Paul.
Yeah, we're just getting fired up. We're up here in Leadville, Colorado. I think we're at like 90,000 feet. Actually, it's like 12,000 feet. So up training at elevation, and then, we've got X Games this weekend. So looking forward to it.
Here's a question for you, because I know a lot of people, I know me for one, like when I spent some time like in Crested Butte, like it's a real deal. People, elevation training at altitude, they're like, that's horse crap. And I'm like, no, it's a real thing. Like, I know me, like I can go up to that elevation, and for the first like night or two, like I'm okay during the day. I don't sleep. It's like it screws my sleep patterns up just being at that elevation. And then it's like you get used to it, and you kind of fall into a rhythm, but it's a real deal, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I'm the same way. I have a real hard time sleeping. It takes about 3 days for me to get acclimated. But you really notice it when you start, with the physical activity. My first couple motos were just, they were like 5 minutes long. Because, it not only affects your breathing, but it affects your circulation. Like my tips of my fingers go numb and they get cold real easy. And so, yeah, it is definitely a real thing. And it's good to get out early and get used to the altitude. So,
yeah. So, obviously we'll talk about X Games in a minute. What else is going on? I feel like I missed you at the snow bike cross qualifiers there in Minnesota. It seems like you're either on a snow bike, you're on a snowmobile, or you're fishing somewhere. Like I swear, if there's anybody living the dream, it's Paul Thacker.
Well, actually, I was in Argentina trout fishing while the snow bike qualifier was going on. So I took a kind of a father-son trip, and we went to it's outside of Calafente. It's called Lake Strobel. It's this just incredible trout fishery. Anyway, we're like 500 miles, not even 500 miles from Cape Horn, so we're way, way, way south.
Yeah.
And it was incredible, man. It was I took one of the new Action Track Chair NTs. It's the small version that is built to be, it's actually FDA approved to be a personal wheelchair, so I was able to travel with it. So I had one down there, and that was it was just a really great trip overall. Great group, great fishing. I wake up every day and I'm still sad that I'm not there.
Yeah, it's because the trout fishing in the United States isn't as good, right? We gotta travel halfway across the world, right?
Well, I mean, being from Alaska, I do get into some pretty good trout fishing, but this was unlike anything I'd ever been a part of. So
no,
it was incredible.
Yeah, some of the pictures I saw posted up, I'm like, wow, that's just looks amazing. I think no offense to ERX Motor Park in Minnesota, but I think I would have opted for the fishing with you instead of being there in the cold watching snow bikes.
Well, we're going again, so if you want.
Too funny. So we got to talk about some X Games though. Obviously, how's this transition been for you to the snow bike? Because I mean, people know you from sleds. I mean, dude, that's where you've made your career, right? I mean, you took an X Games medal. I know you finally a couple years ago you were like, man, got the monkey off my back. Finally got one of these medals. Now they've switched it up. Now you're snow biking, I guess. And this is something fairly new. What have you been on the bike about a year now, year and a half? This is something kind of fairly new for you, right?
Yeah, it's well, I mean, the snow bike part of it's new. I rode a lot of dirt bike throughout my career, so it's that side of it is not very new. But the snow bike definitely is. So yeah, I don't have a ton of time on the bike, to be perfectly honest. I rode a bit before X Games last year, and we'll do the same this year. Was looking to get a little more time, but as racing goes, it didn't quite work out that way. But yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's different, but it's definitely more like riding a dirt bike than a snowmobile.
Okay. Well, that was what I was going to ask, because I know, obviously, riding a dirt bike and riding a sled, there is some crossover, but dude, they're two completely different animals. And I was going to ask you about that, with a snow bike, it's just got to be a whole lot different feel. And obviously you've got to manhandle a sled, but I feel like the snow bike, I don't know, guys have said they just turn different. Everything about them's different, right?
Everything, yeah, they completely turn different. There's no counter steer to them. You just turn it and it goes the direction you point the ski, regardless of how deep the snow is. It's easier on my body for sure than the snowmobile. It's got, obviously better suspension, better setup for not completely beating the crap out of me. So we do have that going for it. So, but no, I would say it's definitely leans more to being like a dirt bike. I would say it's pretty much absolutely nothing like riding a snowmobile.
Yeah. So looking at X Games, obviously we know you know how to medal at X Games. I'm looking at this snow bike cross field though in your division, dude, and it's pretty stacked. What's it going to take for PT to I guess to get to bite on another one of those medals?
I would say a good start and run a clean race. There's definitely fast guys. I don't know if I would put myself quite in the category as the fastest, but I can hold my own. But it's on some of those guys I've noticed tend to they go fast, but they tend to hit the ground a bit, and that's going to be a bad recipe. So trying to stay upright and ride clean, I think, is going to be my best bet for. And again, the starts are so huge. Got to get a good start.
Yeah. Well, what else? I'm just looking at, God, it's been I was looking at our texts and I'm like, how has it been like almost a year since Paul and I have texted? Like, the hell have you been up to, man? Obviously we know about the fishing. I know you like to do some free riding on the sled and stuff like that. What's been keeping you busy, dude? It's been a long ass time since we've talked.
Yeah. We've, obviously I think it was probably it has been a while for sure. I do quite a bit of free riding. We've been really getting after. I did 6 veteran events last year. We did 3 snowmobile and 3 side-by-side, which was really, really cool. And if you ever want to check any of the highlights and what we're doing, I've got a YouTube channel. It's just my name, obviously. You can check out. We put little, shorts together so the guys have something to share with their family and friends and stuff, and keep the people that are supporting happy and make sure they know that I'm spending their money in the right spot. So obviously Monster Energy being such a huge supporter of that. And then, man, I tell you, the fishing thing is, I grew up in Alaska and had an absolute love for fishing as a kid, and this past couple of years I've found that again, and it's been really, really, it's been really great to let that fill the void in the off season from the snow sports. And I bought a boat this summer, and I've got it all set up for me. So spent a lot of time on the river this year. I probably fished 80 days this summer and fall, winter. So that is, who knows? Maybe that'll be my next transition to career.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I've got some friends. I've interviewed them in the pro bass world, MLF and stuff like that. And those guys, I mean, there's some legit money to be made if you're good at it. And I mean, there's some legit sponsorship. Like all the automotive companies, it seems like is jumping in over into that space with 2 feet, man. I guess it's probably a little bit easier on the body too, I would think, Paul.
Yeah, just a tad bit easier. I'm not jumping my boat 300 feet. So yeah, it's a little bit, although it's harder. I think it might be harder on my shoulders. But no, yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, but I'm always leery. You know, obviously the snowmobile side of things was a bit of a hobby at first, and then it became a job. And just like anything you love, you know, it's all amazing, and then when it becomes your job, it's work. Yeah. So I've been a little tentative about the fishing side of things. Right now, it's a whole lot of fun, and I'm pretty much doing whatever I want. You know, when sponsors and money comes along, then you've got responsibilities. So we'll see what happens, but it would be cool. Yeah. I wouldn't turn it down because the timing would be perfect. I could definitely do that in the summer and continue to what I'm doing motorsports wise in the winter. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So next question, obviously, you know, X Games, X Games were, you know, really close to that. What's after X Games for you? Got any, you know, trips planned, free riding? Obviously we got to get through X Games. Hopefully you're coming out the other side with a medal, but past that, what's the rest of this winter season look like for you?
We're actually going directly from X Games to Arrowhead Lodge in Cimarron, Colorado for going to entertain a group of veterans out there and do some snowmobiling. And then I have to go home to Alaska. I've got another veteran event planned up there, and then we've got some freestyle show for the Iron Dog start. I'm sure you're familiar with the Iron Dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the longest snowmobile race on the planet. And then I'll head back south again. We've got a couple more veteran trips. Obviously, we're going to go hang out with my good buddy Chris Brandt in Buena Vista, Colorado. That's always a good trip. And then it'll be springtime, so that means back to Alaska and try and put some video segments together and stuff with the. I mean, spring is my favorite time of year to ride. It's warm. It's usually beautiful. We've got a ton of snow up in Alaska this year. So, yeah, one of these days you should probably come up and check it out.
Yeah, I'm thinking, dude, between the fishing and the snowmobiles, like, I don't know why I haven't been up there yet. I'm just looking at this going, man, this is like tailor-made for me, right? That's completely on you, man. You know where I'm at. Yeah, I know where you're at. Well, you mentioned Brant. Brant's been trying to get me to Colorado for a year and a half, you know, and I'm like, I don't know. I need to just start, you know, like you said, like when your hobby becomes a job, then you're like tied to it. That's kind of where I'm at. It's like now I've got all these buddies that have all this fun, and obviously it's your jobs too, but I'm like, man, we got to have this like collaboration where we like job swap or something. I don't know. And we've got a lot more with Paul Thacker, but if you want the rest of it, you're going to have to tune into Project Action, dropping this Thursday on Podcast One for the full Paul Thacker interview. We'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than join Polaris in their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268-horsepower, turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. It's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Would like to welcome, one of the talks of the town right now in Supercross circles, Mr. Justin Barcia, to the line. How's everything going, Justin?
Yeah, doing awesome. Thank you for asking. Yeah, just hanging out here and, getting ready to go racing.
Well, I know Anaheim obviously treated you pretty damn good the first go-around. How are things looking this time? Obviously, probably not going to be quite as muddy, but I'm sure at this point you've got a chance to kind of take a peek at what you're going to be racing on. How you feeling about heading into this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. A1 was awesome for me. Definitely was nice to get that win out of the way and sit in second in points right now, only 1 point back, so in a really good spot for the championship coming around. But, it's a long series and long season, but definitely looking to, repeat what I did 2 weeks ago here at Anaheim. Definitely want to get the win again and put the bike up front.
Well, in talking about that, I mean, man, we got to talk about what a difference, I guess, a year to 18 months makes, right? I mean, you're all smiles right now. You're sitting there, like you said, right in the hunt for this championship a couple rounds in. But, past couple of years, I feel like right now we're getting like Justin Barcia 2.0. Do you feel like, like your career's had like a full-on reboot at this point? Like it's like, all right, let's put the past behind us. Let's, mash it down and, and go into 2019 swinging. Because, you've had one hell of a roller coaster, but feel like things are definitely looking up right now, right?
Yeah, 100%. You're correct. It's been definitely a full restart for me in my career, and not a lot of people can do that, I think, in their career. And I've hit a spot where I was able to turn it around and get back on point and ride with a really good factory team and just be in a really good position in my life. So yeah, it's been good. It was a lot of challenging times, but to turn it around and get a win at the first race and be sitting, like I said, second in points right now and 1 point back is like a dream come true for me. I wouldn't have thought that a couple of years ago. So sitting where I'm at right now is a really good position to be in.
Yeah, well, and talking about that, I know, the big deal is obviously you took an outdoor win, at the end of last season, but, it had been 6 years since you'd taken a Supercross victory? I mean, there had to come a point where I know at one point you were even talking about retirement, which I think a lot of people are like, man, that's crazy talk. Justin's always been one of the front guys, but I know stuff starts creeping into your mind as a professional athlete, and you start kind of questioning and second guessing. I mean, that had to have been pretty special to be on top of the box at Anaheim a couple of weeks ago, because I mean, back in the back of your mind at one point in your career, you probably may have thought maybe that might not ever happen again, right?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I've always, believed in myself and believe I could win, talent-wise, but things weren't obviously, like I said, going my way. But to get that win again, and like you said, it was 6 years, was way too long of a break. So yeah, definitely won't do that. I think in 6 years from now, I definitely will probably be retired. So I'd like to keep these wins popping off here these next few years and keep it going. But yeah, it was crazy for sure. But it was an incredible night. It was also a long time since Yamaha's got a 450 win as well. So it was just a good feeling all around for everybody. We were ecstatic, and it was just incredible.
Well, and you as a rider, I mean, obviously, this isn't your first rodeo. You're not new to the sport by any means, obviously, but how, I feel like you're riding with a different mentality this year, and and I know especially there at Anaheim 1, I mean, you kind of let the race come to you. I feel like, there was a point in your career, I mean, you were the hard charge, you were gun ho, but now I feel like you're playing the smart game, you know what I mean, and you're looking and letting things come to you, and you're really tactical in your approach this year. I mean, is there anything to that, or you know what I mean? Are you approaching things a little bit different this year?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think with age comes a lot more experience. And for me, I wish I had the experience and, mental game that I have now. I wish I had that a couple of years ago because, right now I'm in a really good place. I've learned a lot of things with, learning the motorcycle, learning myself, learning, the series, the tracks. There's just so much things that come with age. So for me right now, I feel like I'm in a really good spot, like mentally, just because even last weekend in Phoenix, like obviously, I want to be on the podium every weekend, and I wasn't on the podium last weekend, but I feel like, a year or even a couple of years ago, that could have been a lot worse finish for me just because I was, I could have tried too hard and, threw it away. So for me last weekend really wasn't all that bad. I'm still sitting in a really good spot, but obviously the goal is to always be on the podium and, trying to get wins. But all in all, we got out of there safe. It was a really difficult track. And, I came above that and, I'm sitting in a good spot. So definitely, I think matured a lot over the years. And right now, mentally, I just feel like I'm in a really good spot, and I can pretty much, make my own destiny. I feel like I can do whatever I want. So it's pretty cool. Like even riding in general, I feel really comfortable on my bike, and I just feel like I can do whatever I want.
Well, and talking about the Supercross season and long term at this battle that is already kind of shaping up here for in 450s. We're only 2 rounds in, but I mean, I look at Supercross, and this has got to be one of the most grueling schedules in all of motorsport. I mean, it's all packed in every single weekend, week out. You guys, are on the road. You look at things like IndyCar, and it's a comparable amount of rounds, but those guys get 2-3 weeks off in between. You guys, it's on the road. It's bam, 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 bam. I mean, how hard is it to be consistent with all that going on in this grueling calendar? I mean, and there's going to be good weeks. There's going to be bad weeks. And I mean, I got to assume there's sometimes you show up at a track and for some reason your setup, you just don't feel like it's right. The track might not suit your riding. And, so I don't want to say you lay up because you never do that as an athlete, but sometimes, hey, maybe third place is the best we can do this weekend. I mean, is there any of that goes into play? And it's like looking at the bigger picture and being, finding that consistency?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely said all that correct because it is a really long season. And I think, right now it's kind of sorting itself out where the rider's going to be and stuff. And it's going to, we'll see about halfway who's going to be in the title fight. But, right now it's all about staying healthy and, fit. And obviously, the main goal for me anyway is the championship at site. So, you just got to be smart about it because it is such a long season and, we fly every single weekend. We're training during the week. We're, risking it on the weekend. So you definitely have to, ride that fine line. But, to win a championship, obviously you have to win a lot of races. So there's going to be, there's going to be weekends where you don't feel good, and you will have to, like last weekend for me, that was one of those races where I kind of had to, lay up a little bit, which I hate saying, but it just, that track was difficult for me, and I wasn't feeling super comfortable, so I had to take, the best finish I could take. But, hopefully moving into this weekend, hopefully I'll, obviously A1, I felt really good on the track, the conditions, my bike was working good. So I like to think, this weekend I'll be able to lay it on the line and get another win and, take those points. So, yeah, it's just all about playing that fine line of, risk versus reward pretty much.
Yeah. Well, in talking about that, I know obviously you've, I believe it's a 2-year contract you signed with an option for a third. I mean, you being at this point in your career and I mean, knowing what we know, 12 months ago and things like that. I mean, how is that stability for you? I mean, because you're not having to worry about contract. You're not having to worry about funding and getting the funds to go race every weekend. You're not having to worry, hey, do I have a job tomorrow? Or, how is it for you as a rider now approaching this season and the upcoming season? I mean, knowing, hey, like I've got a team, they've got my back. We're here for the next couple of years. So now I can just concentrate on my racecraft.
100%. It's nice to, it just takes a little pressure off my shoulders knowing I have a really good, solid team behind me. The whole Monster Energy, team has been really good to me. They took a risk and luckily it rewarded them and it rewarded me as well. So it's been good to get a good contract and, ideally we go out and win a couple championships and, we retire on top, but we'll see. It's going to be a long couple of years and some good racing. But yeah, it's definitely just nice it's nice to know that I don't have to, go search for a ride and do all that stuff I had to do in the past. I'm in a really good spot on the team and the bike's good and it'll just keep getting better. So yeah, for me, it just takes a little bit of pressure off my shoulders and I can focus on, my training, my riding and my racing.
Yeah. Well, in looking at this championship hunt this year, I mean, we're 2 rounds in. We got A2 coming up, and then I don't want to say the stretch starts because it's already started with these back-to-back weekends. But I mean, what is the next couple of rounds? I mean, I got to think, the way these things are laying out. Obviously, you're 1 point out of first, but these next couple of rounds to me have to be some of the most crucial in the championship, right? Because you don't want to trip and stumble coming out of the gate because you're always fighting from behind. I mean, how crucial is being on point these next few rounds for you guys in the Yamaha team?
Yeah, I think the first couple of rounds are very important. You gotta set the tone for the year, and obviously for me, I felt like I set a tone at the first race. Obviously going out winning, so that was awesome. But yeah, the first, we got A2, we have Oakland and San Diego. I think those ones are going to be super important just to get a nice. Be in a nice spot in the championship, and then we start traveling back east and hit East Coast rounds. And I think for me, I like the East Coast, so. Get through these ones good, get good points, and really hammer down once we start getting a little bit more towards halfway mark and, hopefully getting a good points lead. That's the goal for sure. We want to be in that fight.
Yeah. Well, looking at A1, obviously you've known because, I don't want to say as a mud rider, but you've always done really well in the mud, whether it be outdoors or obviously what we saw at Anaheim. Do you see something with rainy conditions like that, know the track's going to be muddy, and does part of you kind of smile knowing, hey, like, I'm going to do pretty well tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the rain for me is never a bad thing. I, grew up in New York racing in the mud, so I enjoy it. But the cool thing about A1 was, I set the tone right away. I was fast in the free practice. I was fastest in the first practice, so I was fast in the dry, which was nice because a lot of people could kind of say, oh, it was, only got that win because it was wet. And I kind of heard that a few times, and I was like, it was wet, but we were doing all the jumps and the triples and the rhythms and stuff like that. So all in all, I feel like, for me, yes, I like the rain, but, Supercross is, whatever gets thrown at you every weekend. So you just need to adapt to the condition, and that's what makes a good, championship fighter.
Yeah. So being back there at Anaheim, I mean, you've seen what you got to work with this weekend. I mean, what's it going to take for you guys to put this thing back on the top of the box in Anaheim?
The biggest thing for us right now, obviously there's a lot of fast guys, but the biggest thing's going to be getting good starts and, putting the bike out front right away. I know for me, when I get good starts and get up front, I can, lead a race to the end. So fitness isn't really an issue for me right now. And we also have it's the Triple Crown event this weekend. So that throws a little bit of a curveball at some of the racers. But for me, I feel like, 12-minute, sprint for me is a good thing. I'm conditioned well, and I feel like my starts have been pretty good. So I just need to get great starts this weekend to put it up front.
Yeah. Well, talking about the field, I mean, I think, as a fan, me speaking as a fan, I mean, and you as a rider, you can probably chime in on this, but I think it's one of the most exciting times in Supercross right now because, like you said, it's a stacked field. I mean, you've got guys like you and obviously Roxon that are up front, but I mean, we've got a laundry list of guys. I mean, you can go down to Tomac and Marvin, and I mean, there's Jason Anderson. There's such a list of guys. I mean, we're so deep that they could take a podium or a win on any given weekend. I mean, I think, you as a rider, I mean, does that, I know you like competition. That's got to have you excited to show up to work every weekend.
100%. I mean, right now, like I said, the field's kind of sorting itself out. So there's a lot of fast guys, but right now, it's just kind of up in the air, who's going to be there every weekend. So right now, it's just like, it's a lot of competition, but it will. I like to think anyway that it's going to sort itself out towards halfway mark, and you'll know who's going to be title contenders. So right now you just have to be on your tip of your toes, and do obviously you need to go out there and perform, but you just need to be aware of your surroundings at the races, and just keep stay out of that little bit of a cluster, I'd like to say, and put yourself out front and get away from that stuff.
All right, so one more question before we let you go. What is one thing different that Justin Barcia has done in 2019 in your approach to Supercross?
I would say the biggest difference for me was just not overtraining. I've always, done a lot of hard training before the season, and this year I just kind of did a steady build up to the series. I only did one overseas race, and it was good for me. So I feel like I'm gonna peak at the right spot of this series and not too early like I did in the past. So it feels good to be in a really good spot fitness wise, and that's probably what the biggest thing I did.
All right, Justin. Well, I appreciate it, man. Good luck this weekend at A2. I guess good luck in 2019, man. I'd love to see you back on top of the box, and we'll definitely chat soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 Mud Terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies, adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Just wrapping up hour number one. Big thanks to Paul Thacker, Justin Barcia for taking the time to come on the show. I know next week it's going to be an interesting one. We've got Parker 425 week, kind of the build-up to Hammers. I don't know who we're going to have for guests. I do know from the Supercross circles we'll have Kyle Chisholm on the show. But past that, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I will be doing a live show at KOH that Monday. It won't be live. We're taping it. It'll probably drop on Tuesday. So lots of stuff surrounding KOH coming up. We're going to talk about that in the next hour. Do want to make mention, though, our good friends there at Ultra 4. Go to ultra4license.com, and you can get in on this Warn VIP package. If you're heading out to Hammers, this is the only way to take in Hammers. You want to get in on this Warn VIP package. And I know we talked about it last week. They changed it up. So now we've got anything from 1-day VIP passes all the way up to a full 9-day pass. So whether you're going for 1 day or a week, they have a VIP package that will suit your needs. Once again, it's ultra4license.com. You can get those VIP packages, and we are going to take a short break here in a minute. But make sure and hit me up at JimBeaver15 on social media, because I've got 2 segments coming up where I can take your fan questions. So whether you got a question about Parker 425, King of the Hammers, regardless of what your question's about, I have 2 full segments that I can take your fan questions. So we'd love to hear from you guys, like always. Get those questions in. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of those segments. We do have some Supercross, some KOH to talk about, also Dakar Rally, and a whole lot more. So taking fan questions the next couple of segments. It is at JimBeaver15. And before we go to break, once again, Ultra4License.com. You can get in on those VIP tickets for King of the Hammers. All right, we are going to take a short break, and we come back. It's hour number 2 here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you, but you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance, responsiveness, and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, welcome back here to hour number 2 of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. And I know a lot of you have literally hit me up on Twitter and said, why do you say hour number 2? Well, if you're listening in national syndication Saturdays and Sundays or on the American Forces Network overseas, well, first of all, thank you for all that you do, our military that do tune in overseas. But if you're listening in nationally, the clock all works. If you're listening online, hey, I did something for you guys this year. I tried to slide it in. We cut some of the commercial breaks out of the online show. We add them in later. So if you're tuning in online, we're like 8 minutes short of an hour. It's because this thing clocks out nationally the full length. But I just tried to, like we say in the, coming out of the break sometimes, all killer, no filler, right? So I'm trying to make it all killer, less commercials, more of the content you guys like. So just trying to help you guys out a little bit. We can always add more commercials back in, right? No, I'm just saying. Anyways, we are talking about doing a Patreon where there's literally no branding whatsoever, and it's 100% all just content. So I don't know. We'll see if we pull the trigger on that or not. But I'd love to hear your feedback on that if you guys want to see it. At JimBeaver15 on social media. Do have to give a shout out though, my regularly weekly shout out to my other show, Project Action, over there on Podcast One. It's my other podcast. We're also getting ready to launch an all new edition of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. So we're gonna have this national show on Tuesdays. We'll have Project Action on Thursdays. Wednesdays is going to be the off-road only edition, so we're talking just dirt sports on the show. So this one, I know, some days it's dirt sports, some days it's IndyCar, NHRA. We're all over the board, but the new show on Wednesdays is going to be strictly desert, off-road, short course, all things dirt. So yes, looking forward to doing that. We're probably a couple weeks out from rolling that out, as well as our new video. So anyways, do want you guys to head over to iTunes right now, though. If you haven't already, make sure and hit that subscribe button to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, as well as Project Action. All of our stuff is going to be using that feed. So if you want all of our content, you don't have to worry about going to the website, or tuning in on one of the networks that carries us. Easiest way to do it, gets beamed right to your device as soon as one of our shows hits. Hit the subscribe button there on iTunes, and you will keep locked and loaded with all of our content that we put out there. So if you want to really give us a bonus, hit that rating button, 1 through 5 stars. Not going to tell you how to rate us, but much appreciated if you take the time to do so. So we are... Whoa, man, coughed on air. Don't ever do that. I don't have that cough button like I do on TV. Yes, we are going to take a short break. We come back. We're talking, Supercross, Dakar Rally, King of the Hammers, whole lot more here in the next couple of segments when we return here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? DirtFish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at DirtFish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for. No fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island. The best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Kind of crazy. I'm actually looking out the studio window right now, and we're pretty soundproof. here in the studio. And as I'm looking out there, man, we got to have like 30, maybe 40-mile-an-hour winds hitting, like seriously stuff flying past the window. And I'm just telling you, if you hear any bangs or crashes or anything, it's because of the wind outside. Gnarly wind. It was happening earlier today, and then it shut down. And I kind of haven't really looked out until just now and heard something. I looked out the window and whoa, man, crazy wind happening. So yes, some gnarly windy conditions right now in Parker. So anyways, I don't know. We got a lot to talk about today in the next couple of segments. Like I said before, you got any questions, hit me up at JimBeaver15 on Twitter. And I'm that on all social media, but use Twitter for questions. I guess, I don't know, if you DM me on Instagram or something, maybe I'll see it or something like that. Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. First off, right now, KOH coming up, Parker 425 coming up, a couple of big ones. Obviously, we're going to talk X Games, Dakar Rally, Supercross in the next segment, but just thought I would touch on some stuff. I know we talked about Bloodlines. We had Mitch Guthrie Jr. on last week. I guess if I would have been smart, I would have had his dad, Mitch Sr. on this week. But Bloodlines, episode number 2 is out. I will have it posted in my social media as soon as we get off air. I know that I know that everybody else has been posting it up, but make sure and check these out. Like, this is a phenomenal series with the Guthries. I haven't had the opportunity to watch episode number 2 yet, but talk about a father-son story that's amazing. With these guys that are just so talented. Just dominated hammers, it's just an amazing series, kind of behind the scenes and really what goes into, being successful at such a brutal event. I do want to say, though, Polaris tied with us is they're giving away a free razor. If you want to get in on this free razor giveaway, head over to Polaris RZR's Instagram, hit the link in their profile, and it'll take you where you can win one of these free razors. So, yeah, talking about KOH and the Parker 425, it's been kind of a lot of drama in off-road circles regarding this event, and some really interesting things have shaped up. And you know me, I'm gonna put it out there in these in this segment and kind of really talk about and analyze what the heck is actually going on. So Parker 425, it's been kind of the same weekend for years, 40 years? Well, it used to be a little bit earlier in January. About 20 years ago, it kind of moved to kind of Super Bowl weekend. It's been there for a long time. Anyways, KOH, came in years ago. Well, we're almost a decade in now at KOH, and started putting on their event. And even Dave Cole said, I would have never put it on that weekend, but it stretched into being like a week long. It used to be just, a couple days or whatever. But he said, he's like, I never wanted to compete at Parker. It was never my ambition. He's like, I never thought this thing was going to get as big as it did. No idea. So, fast forward now, and KOH is one of the biggest off-road events in the world. And now it's run up against Parker. Now, vendors have had problems, stuff like that. We've never really had much of a problem with entries, being pulled, because there's the rock guys, there's the desert guys. UTVs race Parker 250 beginning in January. It's never been a conflict for them. I was going to try and do both. It became a conflict for me this year because I moved the UTV date, which I don't blame them. The reason why is because KOH is now bringing in trophy trucks. So I guess Monster Energy and Toyo Tires decided, hey, we're going to throw a bunch of money and try and put on this invitation-only trophy truck race and put a $100,000 purse up, right? All sounds good on paper. Problem was like it became like Wednesday, so it's like 4 days after the Parker 425, which has become one of the biggest trophy truck races or trick truck races of the year, right? So immediately, and it was like going to be this exclusive invitation only deal, only the best of the best. Half the field's going to be whacked. Well, then like they put out the list, and like the drivers that were invited, they left some really good guys out, and they slid in some of their favorites that probably didn't deserve to be on the list. So drivers, fans, everybody got up in arms. Then KOH goes, all right, we're going to have some kind of rankings. I don't know, they got some kind of rankings, right? And that's going to determine. Well, then it was like, I don't even know how this works. I think the rankings may determine qualifying position. The problem with this event is they haven't had a damn business plan for it. They may have one with for the money and everything else, but like, dude, it's been hard. It's been a roller coaster to follow. And so, I think that, and now like they're going to, instead of qualifying after 20 miles, they're going to kick a bunch of people out of the race and be like, oh, you're not fast enough. So if you're Rob McCachran, everybody will universally agree Rob McCachran's one of the best in the world. If you're Rob McCachran and you get a flat tire in the first 20 miles of the race, you're getting kicked out of the race. So I that doesn't sit well with me. Things can happen. So I don't know. It's just been an interesting thing. So, and the entry fee is like $5,000, which if you're a trophy truck guy, that's not a lot, but it's a chunk of change, right? So you can spend $5,000 to go 20 miles. Plus, bring all your stuff to Hammers and everything else. All for the chance to win this $100,000 purse. Or on the flip side, you've got Parker, which they thought Parker was going to get no entries and everybody's going to go to Hammers. Well, Parker is Parker. Everybody knows it. It's a known quantity. It's the first race of Best in the Desert. People like racing the track. Now trophy trucks have moved into their own race a couple of years ago, so we're not competing on the same track at the same time as the limited cars. Yeah, I mean, it's a known quantity. Granted, I think if you win and you got a Ford, I mean, you're probably going to take home $20,000. It's not $100,000, but it's a solid chunk of change. But I think people thought it was going to be a ghost town, me included. Now looking at the entries, Parker has like 33, 34 entries. And KOH has like 31 entries. So I think they were thinking KOH is going to get like 50 people show up and Parker's going to get 10. Now Parker's actually got more entries than KOH. The reasoning behind this, well, I think Parker's a safe bet. Everybody's going to get their fair shake. I'm not saying that an invitation only elitist event for trophy trucks is a bad idea. I think the way that KOH, and you know me, like I'm not going to pull any punches, but love Dave Cole to death. He wouldn't pull any punches either. They have completely failed at the execution of explaining this event to the teams and things like that. And I think if you're going to have one, they want to have only the good guys on course, only this, only that. Like literally, if you're going to have a trophy truck, only a race, invite it to everybody, charge your $5,000, and you know what I mean? Just let everybody race. Like, I don't know why you have to eliminate guys after the first 20 miles. I don't know why there's this crazy ranking system. Like literally, show up. Have qualifying. Everybody qualifies on the same 5-mile course. Have a race day, and you can do qualifying same day. Have a race day. Everybody pays their $5,000 to enter, and if 60 guys show up, 60, and they've raced a trophy truck race before. See, we've got guys racing this Ultra 4 trophy truck special race that have never even raced trophy truck. But, I guess they're fan favorite. They don't even have proper trophy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, it's going to be interesting. Not saying it's a bad event. I've supported it, and I don't blame Dave Cole. If somebody threw a couple $100,000 at me and said put on a trophy truck race, tell you what, Jim Beaver's putting on his own trophy truck race. But I think the execution of it has completely kind of been a failure. And the way it looks to me is a lot of redundant entries on both Parker and King of the Hammers. The King of the Hammers race is kind of an outlier. Like it's its own one-off. It's not a points event. I think a lot of guys are going to come run Parker, and then if their truck, if there's anything left of their truck, they're going to take the unprepped truck to KOH, maybe do a quick prep on it, and try and run it at KOH. I think Parker's going to be the primary, KOH secondary. There's a few guys like Menzies who just want to go and win the $100,000. He's just showing up to KOH. But I think all in all, that's kind of the way this is going to be. Now, after I've said all this, am I ever going to get invited to KOH? Probably not. Do I care? Probably not. I'll still support the event. I'll probably, and if it ever works out, I would love to come run it. Obviously, I'm planning on running a UTV there next year, but I think I think this has just been it's been interesting. I really haven't heard much about this event, this KOH Trophy Truck event, since it literally was announced 6 months ago. And or last fall. Like, I haven't heard anything about it. So I don't know. Supposedly they've got this big TV deal with X Games, World of X Games or something like that. Like, I don't know. But yeah, so that is kind of what's happening. That is kind of my analysis of it. Got 30-plus entries at Parker, 30-plus entries at KOH. I think a lot of them are going to cross over. So I honestly would see the KOH list going down by a few entries by race day, just because there's so many guys will have damage or whatever at Parker. But I don't know. It's kind of the way I'm reading into things. So, but yeah, we now that we've dissected that, we're kind of up against a time break here. We got to take a short break. We come back. I will be talking. I guess X Games, we got Supercross, Dakar, a whole lot to talk about here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. We'll be back after this. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, we're back here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Going to switch gears here. And I don't know, we had got a ton of stuff going on, with events and things like that. I do want to make mention, obviously, before we get to that. Got a big promotion going with my good friends at Podcast One. Thought I would bring you guys in the loop on. They've got, obviously, betonline.ag, big partners with all of our shows there on Podcast One. 2019 is starting off in a big way thanks to betonline.ag, the exclusive partner of Podcast One Sportsnet, where the show does air. Basically, cutting to the chase, they're giving away a big promotion for the big game coming up in about a week and a half. Wouldn't you like to go to the big game? Well, I know I would. It's round-trip flight, hotel, VIP tailgate party, and tickets all to the big game, and a guest right there in Atlanta. You heard it right. Once-in-a-lifetime, all-expenses-paid trip to the NFL's biggest game of the year in Atlanta for two people. How do you enter? Simple. Go to betonline.ag, sign up for a betonline.ag account, use a promo code BIGGAME, and enter the contest. They are the exclusive partners here at Podcast One Sportsnet, and this promotion ends the 28th of January. So don't forget betonline.ag and use the promo code BIGGAME. So yes, I don't know. I'm probably excluded from entering that. I would love to go to that. So yes, I don't know. We got a lot to talk about here. Obviously, Supercross. One of my favorite rounds. They've got this new thing like the Triple Crown, right? And it's kind of the same format as Monster Energy Cup. Not talking the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup. We're talking about actually the race that we care about, the one that happens in October. No offense to NASCAR fans, but seriously, when they named it NASCAR Monster Energy Cup, I think all of us Supercross fans were like deer in the headlights. Like, what? That's already exists. It's called October in Las Vegas. They give away $1 million. And you're going to now name your lame stock car series that goes around in circles Monster Energy Cup after a Supercross race? What? And so they've kind of kept it both going. And now that Monster is pulling out as a NASCAR title sponsor, I think that, I don't know, rightfully so, Monster Energy Cup is always going to be the race in October, regardless of what they called NASCAR. Anyways, I digress. I like this Triple Crown format. So basically catching you guys up that don't know, 3 events a year. First one being A2 in Anaheim. They do the Triple Crown format, which instead of having like heat races, last chance qualifier, main event, and the main event being really long, they have 3 smaller main events. None of the heat races, none of all that. You qualify in earlier in the day, and then they have main event 1, main event 2, main event 3. Your total points for all your finishes go in to determine the overall winner. So technically, you can be the overall winner and never have actually won one of the main events. But I really like this format. Everything counts. Obviously, heat races count, last chance qualifiers count, but like to me, every position on track. Sometimes guys get in a qualifying position for a heat race and they just kind of lay up, know they're going to make the main event. This kind of, I don't know. To me, it's like everything that they air on television on these nights means something. And anyways, A2 didn't disappoint. Obviously, we had Barcia on the show. I interviewed him right prior to this event. Barcia ended up getting off in main event number 3. He actually, I think he got like a 5th or 6th in main event 1. Main event 2, he took a podium there, and then he had an off. So definitely hurt him in the points, moving him out a few notches. He was actually, I think, in the overall, looking pretty solid for this Triple Crown, though. And kind of just took the sails, I guess, and went right out from under him. But you got to give credit, though, to Cooper Webb, taking victories in the first and the second main event, taking a 3rd in main 3, and took the overall. And his first ever 450 win. So big shout out to Cooper Webb. Kenner Oxen was pretty consistent, starting out, but then he had some struggles. I don't know. It's interesting because guys like go up and down. It's like a roller coaster all night long. So it ended up being Cooper Webb, Marvin, and then Tomac 1, 2, and 3. Then it looks at the point standings, and this is what I love about Supercross this year. It's like a deadlock in the point standings. So you got Roxon out there leading the points. Tomac in second, 2 points back. And then you got Cooper Webb. He's only like 6 points behind Roxon. You got Barcia, who had a horrible night, and he's still only 8 points out. And then tied with Barcia's Marvin, and then Dean Wilson's still only a couple points back. Anderson's still, back there in 7th. He's about 15 points out, 17, 18. So I don't know, man. It's Baggett, Plessinger. Like, it's crazy. Seeley, then you look at Brayton. Even Chad Reed had a pretty decent night. Love Justin Brayton. Interviewed him last year at the end of last season. Man, he's become one of my favorite guys in Supercross. I think Brayton's another guy watch out for. He hadn't hit his stride yet. He kind of feel like he kind of hits his stride late, anyways, it's I don't know, it's been a crazy Supercross season. Then you look at 250s. We haven't even got to the East Coast yet, but we're looking at 250s. Colton Nichols, like, who is this kid? Where did he come from? Took the main event number 1 win, took main event number 2 in a podium in 3rd, and then he was off the podium in main event 3, but he finished 3rd overall. He's current points leader. But my boy, that is right, Sugar Shane McElrath, my pick to take it all in 250s this year. Sugar Shane, he was your overall winner. I need to send Mr. Shane a text and be like, hey, buddy, we need to get you back on air. We got something to talk about. But yeah, he took a 3rd, a 2nd, and a 1st. So I guess you're going to take the trifecta there. I guess what do they call that? The cycle in baseball, where you get a single, double, triple home run. Sugar Shane, we'll say he hit for the cycle there at the Triple Crown. Ended up taking the overall event victory. So you look at 250 points, same thing. So we got Colt Nichols. He is out front, 2 points back, though. You got Sugar Shane in 2nd, and then Ferrandis and Cianciarulo, and Cianciarulo, man, they are thinking great things for this kid this year. It's time. I mean, Adam, he's kind of the chosen one. Like, he's supposed to be like the next Ryan Villapoto, right? And we're just waiting for that breakthrough. He's got bigger. I remember when he started out, this kid was like skin and bones. He was like a toothpick. Now he's actually got some meat on his bones, some muscle. Like, this is the year. I think my pick is still McElrath. But I think Cianciarulo, I think when it comes down to the finals, we're going to be talking McElrath, Cianciarulo, but this Colt Nichols kid, man, very impressive. So I think he's going to factor into it as well. So those are my top 3 picks for Supercross. I guess moving forward on the West Coast, it's definitely going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. So that's happening in Supercross, man. We got a lot to talk about. I'm looking at the timestamp here and I'm going, ooh, we're running short. Then we had Dakar. We got to talk about Dakar. Got to talk about, first off, my motorcycles. Horrible, not horrible, Ricky Brabeck, just a heartbreaker for Ricky Brabeck, who I think had a really good shot to win at that. He ended up breaking, and it was just a total heartbreaker for him. I'm going to reach out to Ricky and see if we can get him on air here in the next week or two. Also, though, got to give a shout out to my boy Toby Price. Love me some Toby Price. He's part of the Down and Dirty Radio Show family. He's been on the show a couple times now. He ended up taking the victory, second Dakar victory there for Red Bull KTM. Super stoked to see Toby there. On top of the box, man. He battled back, had some struggles early. Ended up coming back, taking a victory. This guy is Dakar legend for a reason, and I think he's one of those. Once he transitions into a truck, we've already seen him doing stadium super trucks and trophy trucks. He's going to be really, really good at Dakar. But Toby Price, legend on a bike. I'm thinking transition's coming when this contract with Red Bull KTM winds down. Red Bull's going to throw him in four wheels, guaranteed. Also, big shout out to Andrew Short, top finishing American on the bikes, finishing up in 5th. Looking at the car and truck division, and Nasser Al-Attiyah getting that W. You want to talk about Mr. Consistent, a guy who just had a phenomenal Dakar rally, Nasser Al-Attiyah. That dude every single day was just there. He was there. That's what you got to do at Dakar. You got to run clean, and Nasser Al-Attiyah did that, took the victory. Nani Roma finishing in 2nd. He was, 46 minutes back, and then Sebastian Loeb in the last spot on the podium, hour and 54 minutes back, taking that 3rd spot. So looking down, I know a lot of you guys wonder where Robbie Gordon finished up. Remember, he was running a UTV in the car and truck division, and Mr. Robbie Gordon and Kellen Walsh was 49th place way back. But you do have to give a shout-out to Blade Hildebrand, my good friend Blade. Shout-out to his parents. Good people. They actually were a vinyl wrap sponsor of mine for a couple years there with Empire Wraps. Blade Hildebrand in 42nd place, and don't forget, they were UTVs in the car and truck division. Side-by-sides, I know a lot of you wondering where Casey Curry ranked up. He finished up in 4th, 2 hours and 32 minutes out of 1st place, and it looks like he was about an hour and a half out of the podium. So solid effort by Casey Curry in his very first Dakar. I think he's going to be back, and definitely he's going to push for a victory next year for sure. So those are kind of our Dakar results. I know we had some Race of Champions to talk about and some other stuff, and we just didn't quite get it in this segment. So I don't know, guess something for next week, right? Anyways, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be Tiffany Stone on the line here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. So, got any questions for T Stone? Hit me up. It's at JimBeaver15. Tag me, tag her. She's probably not going to read them, but tag us in social media on Twitter, and we'll get those answered in the next segment. But we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'd like to welcome my weekly partner in crime, Tiffany Stone, to the line. And I know we got a lot to talk about in this segment today, T Stone. I know you were wrapping up Detroit Auto Show, also like the North American International Auto Show. I don't know. They got multiple names there, but I don't know. How was the week? I know we talked to you like day one. How did everything end up? You get a chance to take in some more of the radness out there?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's a little bit different this year. Usually when you go there, it's so big. There's so many different manufacturers. But what's kind of weird this year is there's no Mercedes, there's no Audi, there's no Porsche, there's no BMW and Maserati. So, like, the high-end sports cars that everybody looks at, you know, IMSA, and when they come to the Detroit Grand Prix, those vehicles aren't here for some reason. And I don't know why. I don't know if they're waiting till 2020 because the Detroit show is actually going to move to the summertime. So for June of 2020 is when we'll have the show. And so it won't be like in this frigid, it was 6 degrees this morning. Oh, no, I'm sorry, -6 this morning when I drove into work. -6.
That is insane. And I know, yeah, you guys have like a massive winter storm hitting, right? Like right now, right?
Yeah, well, we had that storm hit on Saturday, and luckily I have the JL, so that just got me through it. But what I've realized, and obviously in Parker you're not getting a lot of snow, but here in the Midwest, when it snows, if there was 3 lanes, so pretty much everything's a free-for-all. There's no lanes, there's no structure, and I highly doubt there's any rules or regulations when it snows in Michigan.
Yeah, I feel like you need to get like a Gatling gun and like mount it to the roof. So like a free-for-all. I'm thinking like full-on like zombie apocalypse, people fleeing the city, like free-for-all type of thing. I don't know. I feel like there's one more mod you need to do to the Jeep, and that's like mount a gun on top.
Well, I did add some mods this week. I didn't get to tell you that. I added a rear bumper from Crawltech and put a 30-inch light bar from Rigid Industries in that. Don't know why everybody keeps like, why do you need a light bar in your rear bumper? And my answer is, why not?
Exactly. When you're talking cars and Jeeps and trucks, like the answer is always, why not? It's like, why do you need that? Come on now, people. Seriously.
And no, and I want to be like, have you never ever done night riding? Have you never been at a campsite and you're like, oh, I need some extra light? Well, I got a light bar in the front and a light bar in the rear now.
Yeah, we need that light bar for like the Ultra 4 track at Crandon where we can do some night runs.
The track that we weren't supposed to drive on, I mean.
All right. So speaking of all things off-road, obviously that show wrapping up. I guess I've got Parker 425 coming up, but we also got the big one, KOH. We got a lot to talk about. I know it was funny because you mentioned before we hopped on about Mitch Guthrie and Bloodline. So I had Guthrie on last week on the show to talk about it, and Mitchie. I open, like, and the whole opener is like he knows you're part of the show, like, full-time now and whatever. So the whole My Package thing popped up, and he's just like, seriously, do we have to go there? Like, but it's funny because I'm like, I don't think that Mitch, we can ever do an interview with him without bringing up that whole situation. And I think he knows that. So it's like he wants to come on the show, but I think now it's like reluctance. So I know, like, at KOH, we're going to have him on when we're live out there. And I know he's already walking into that interview going, I know what the hell is going to be asked.
Maybe we should just reach out to the company for him. So, because with Bloodlines going out, it's which Guthrie is going to win. Is it going to be Mitch or is it going to be Mitchie? Like, which one's going to win? Maybe we should just reach out to that company, have them send it over. So whomever that we get, we'll either have one of them. And then maybe this time we'll make them put it on, and then he has to race that way.
Yeah.
The winner has to race in the My Package undies.
Yeah. You know what is funny about My Package, because I don't know anybody at that company, but I think between this radio show the past year, they have got more publicity. Like, seriously, they ought to be like a paying advertiser at this point, because I never heard of My Package until the Mint, but I swear for the last year we've been talking about them. So if anybody from My Package is tuning in, shoot Tiffany Stone and I some care packages or something.
I know. Can we go to like what would it be if it was female though? Like, never mind. I have a good one, but I don't even know if I want to even go in there. I don't know if I want to go that route. I've got them too.
Like, I don't. Oh man, that's. Yeah. Oh God. I don't know that we should go there right now, and I've got a million of them too. If this was like the podcast, I'd say we're going there, like we did at the SEMA show. But I had to pause there before I said it. But because this is in national syndication, I don't know that the FCC would like us to go there. So maybe we'll have to save that for Camp RZR. or KOH.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should definitely save it for KOH. That means, well, you never know now. What if we are at remote and people come see us and then they just drop off items there? And that's probably the best way to get on the show is you want us to talk about something, drop it off to us, or bring my packages or bring my wine or whatever you got going on.
That's actually a cool deal. We ought to do that. Anytime we're live, if you want your product talked about, seriously, come by the table, drop it off with T-Stone and I, and we'll talk about it on air. We will give our unbiased opinion on it, and if you're proud of your product, man, you got nothing to worry about. If it's a little sketchy, we may have some fun with it, but the rule is whatever you drop off stays with us. So like you said, if it's
Exactly.
If it's wine or if it's underwear or whatever, you're not getting it back. Just saying. So
you're not. And then if it's great, I will give you T-Stone stamp. It's
going to get the T-Stone stamp of approval. Nice. So speaking of KOH, obviously we'll talk about Guthrie real quick, like real talk about Guthrie. But Bloodlines, I know you said you saw that come out. We've got, I guess we've got one dropping every single week between now and Hammers. I guess like 3 or 4 part series. But yeah, I mean, what did you think about that? Like Mitch versus Mitchie, and it's such a rad story.
No, it is. It's such a great story, and of course, with Mitch Sr. being such an iconic focal point of King of the Hammers, you know, winning so many times, and it was really cool because when Joey D was getting interviewed and everything like that, he was just saying, you know, Mitch always wants to win, but it seemed like the only time he was okay with not winning is when Mitchie won, you know, and that's got to be a great feeling. And I really want to sit down with both of them one time, and I've talked to them about it a few times, and I love doing it with the father-son duo or anything, you know, like with the Greaves, Johnny and CJ. I always like asking, is it harder to be a dad watching your son or daughter race, or is it harder being the driver racing against your son or daughter?
Yeah, and you know, and it's an interesting dynamic, like you said, because the Greaves are still, you know, racing hard against each other. Guthrie's the same way. You've got, you know, we're drawing obviously the off-road comparisons, you know, in short course, but you know, you look at the Kincaids, and it was like Jeff had kind of retired by the time Keegan really hit his stride. So they never, I'm sure they competed against each other at some point, but it wasn't really like you know what I mean? It was Jeff was kind of out the door. Now he helps Keegan. I know he's, you know, helps fab the trucks and work on them, and you know he's, you know, helps Keegan with race strategy and things like that. But you know, but it is a weird dynamic where you get two. A father-son or a father-daughter, or I don't know, at some point maybe there'll be a mother-daughter combo racing against each other, but at a high level, you know what I mean? Most of the time one's got their foot out the door when the other one comes along, but this is that rare case where they're both still racing for wins at KOH.
Yeah, no, and that's the crazy thing. It's because, of course, you're father first, but are you a father first or are you a driver first as soon as you put on that helmet, strap in, and turn key and, you know, go? Which one are you? And that's the crazy thing, because when you're looking at it, it's just like, okay, well, I'm in first. Well, where's Mitchie? Well, what if something happens? And I know, you know, watching Johnny, when Johnny's flipped before at Crandon, it's like, CJ, it's like, do you worry? Do you stop? What do you do? Do you get out of the truck? Do you go help your dad? It's like a weird dynamic, because I know when, you know, you're on a live track, you can't really get out. You can't do certain things. So I'm really interested to get to KOH and talk to the both of them, especially if one or the other one wins too. And like I said, Joey saying Mitch was happy when Mitchie won. You know, that's kind of cool about it too. It's because you get to see the full circle, and you kind of see your son take up after you. And then it's also cool to see your son be in the same position and go through the same emotions that you did, because it kind of solidifies your bond a little bit more, I think, as well.
Yeah, well, and we didn't even mention, I know we're going to talk about the Greaves in a minute because they got some big news around KOH, but the Campbell, same way, you know, and you talk about the crashes. I mean, I remember at Crandon this year when the Ultra Forza race and Campbell family brought their whole fleet. Shannon had that crazy crash coming out of turn one, like literally cartwheeled over like a tire and went airborne, cartwheeled over. And, like, his kids were right behind him, and they're watching this happen, watching their dad do this spectacular, like, rollover, you know, and it's like, man, you got to know their heart was up in their throat, or their, you know, it was just like, man, that's got to be a tough thing to swallow when you've got family members on track and you see one go down, you know?
Exactly. And I've I don't have that experience. I don't have any children yet. I mean, I could only imagine what it'd feel like watching, if roles were reversed, watching your son, watching your daughter flip, or watching your son or daughter end up hitting like a hard turn or a hard corner. It's like, that's when it comes into either panic mode or you know that you've taught them everything that you could possibly teach them to keep them safe, with all the safety features and everything and being very technical about it. I mean, I don't know. That's always one great story that I love talking about is just how you feel about it, because you got to separate them once in a while, the emotion and being a driver and a dad.
Yeah. So talking about KOH, I know we only got a couple minutes left, but big news, obviously, I know Greaves ran last year at KOH. Johnny and CJ both back, but you said something that I didn't realize. Kyle Chaney we're going to see this year at KOH.
Yeah, so Kyle Chaney drives Can-Am. He's been in the top for the last few years with the Torque Series, now the Midwest Short Course League with Lucas Oil. He's been out there. He's doing really, really well. I've been watching his build, and it's pretty exciting, and I'm excited to see Kyle because, we always hear about RZR, we always hear about Yamaha, but I want to see what these Can-Ams are going to do out there. I know that last year when the Maverick was out and stuff like that with the X3s, and so what's really exciting is you hear the name Polaris everywhere, with Mitch and RJ. You hear the name Yamaha with the Greaves. But to be able to see a Can-Am and Kyle Chaney do so well in short course, and he does a lot of other series down south. And what's really cool about that to see it is just to have it come full circle. And I want to see if we can see a Can-Am in the top 5.
Yeah, well, I know Phil Blurton has been doing really well in the desert, and I know he's been doing his homework, and he's a factory Can-Am guy, and it sounds like he spent a lot of time out there in Johnson Valley. So you got Chaney coming from the short court side in a Can-Am, but Phil Blurton, who that guy is phenomenal in the desert. It's going to be interesting to see. I think he's going to bring his A game to Hammers this year as well.
I know, it's kind of cool, and like what we were talking about last episode about how the Midwest and the West Coast are coming together with Lucas Oil, how they're doing that one at Wheatland. This is going to kind of see what type of UTV drivers are out there, if it is better to do short course or if it is better to do desert, because we both know KOH is kind of a combination of all of that, and then throw in rock crawling too. I mean, it's going to be anybody's game, but you're going to have some big new players out there this year too.
Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Should be an exciting one. T-Stone, I appreciate you taking the time to call into the show. And I don't know, when are you headed to Hammers? I know we'll have you on air next week again, but after that, I think we'll be doing our live show that following Monday out there at Hammers.
Yeah, so I will be out there. I am going to leave next Tuesday. I'm going to head out there, and I should be in Johnson Valley Friday. So I'll be there Friday, playing around a little bit, and then start the show. Hopefully, once we get out there, I can tell you a little bit more what we're going to be doing out there. So, like I always say, stay tuned.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tiff, for calling into the show. And always fun catching up with Tiffany Stone and her regularly scheduled segment. Never know what the hell we're going to be talking about. But we're going to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. And we're going to wrap up this epic episode when we return.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports. The sound at the racetrack. And the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I've partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at motoshieldpro.com.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right. We are back here wrapping things up on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Another, episode number 369 in the books, which had me thinking we're going to have episode number 400 at some point this year, which means we got to do something special. We got to air from someplace special. We got to bring in special guests. So I don't know if you guys got any ideas. Once again, hit me up on social media at JimBeaver15. Also, check out the website, downanddirtyshow.com. You can use the contact form there to reach out to me as well. Whatever works for you. I just like hearing from you guys. So definitely check that out. Man, we got a lot of stuff coming up. King of the Hammers, obviously, Parker 425. But even sooner than that, we've got X Games from Aspen this weekend. Man, we got 24 hours of Daytona coming up soon as well. So looking forward to all those. Big thanks to Polaris RZR, General Tire, Subaru, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, DirtFish, MotoShield Pro, Blue Water Resort and Casino. Don't forget, once again, KOH, the VIP program. Go to ultra4license.com. You can get those VIP passes. Now it has changed anywhere from 1 day all the way up to the full, 8-9 days out on the lake bed. You can get your VIP treatment. So you don't have to book. You don't have to get your tickets for the entire week, even if you're only going to be there for a couple of days. They've got a special package just for you. Check it out, ultra4license.com. Yes, make sure and go over to iTunes, subscribe to this show, subscribe to my other show, Project Action, there on Podcast One as well. We'll be airing that Paul Thacker interview in its entirety. It's about double the length of what you guys heard today. That'll be dropping on Project Action this week, and trust me, it's quite funny the second half. So I think you guys are going to enjoy that. If you're looking for a discount at DirtFish Rally School, I was just up there last week, actually. Great weather and lots of fun for some meetings. We've got some excitement coming. But use coupon code JBDirtFish. It'll get you 15% off all classes and anything you got going up there at DirtFish. So I don't know. I got my new swag pack. We're actually getting my new painted helmet from Airtrix coming. So looking forward to my third DirtFish helmet. 3rd year as a helmeted driver. I think 8th year with DirtFish with the school. So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another show. And obviously we're going to be airing at King of the Hammers Hammers Week on Monday with Polaris RZR as well. Check out Bloodlines. Be safe as always. Game on.